女士们、先生们，
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, welcome to the third China International Supply Chain Expo, thematic event on green agriculture. I'm Zheng Junfeng with CGTN.
Supply Chain Expo Green Agriculture Forum. I'm Zheng Junfeng from CGTN. 本次活动由中国国际商会和联合国粮食及农业组织联合主办。This event is co-hosted by China International Chamber of Commerce and Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. 首先向大家介绍出席本次活动的贵宾：中国贸促会中国国际商会副会长李庆双女士。
Today we are joined by Li Qingshuang, Vice Chairman of CCPIT. Jing Shuqing, Deputy Director General, Department of Development Planning, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs of China. FAO representative in China Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, Carlos Adolfo. Mr. Paul Dyke, Senior Vice President of Walmart International. Bernardo Mendia, Secretary General of Portugal China Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We also welcome delegations from across China and abroad. Welcome everyone. First, join me in a round of applause to welcome Vice President of CCPIT, Ms. Li Qingshuang, to the stage. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends, good afternoon. It is a great pleasure to join you here in Beijing for the third Expo and on the thematic event on green agriculture. On behalf of the CCPIT, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all our guests present today and to express heartfelt thanks to friends from both China and abroad for your support for the work of CCPIT. Thank you. At present, the world is undergoing profound changes. Economic globalization faces headwinds, and global industrial supply chains are rapidly reconstructing. President Xi pointed out that maintaining the resilience and stability of global industrial and supply chains is essential. He repeatedly reaffirmed China's commitment to advancing international cooperation on industrial and supply chains. Yesterday morning, Vice Premier He Lifeng delivered the keynote speech at the opening ceremony, reiterating China's firm commitment to high-standard opening up and calling for deeper international cooperation and the building of an open world economy. Green is a defining color of high-quality agriculture development. Now, due to geopolitical conflicts, extreme weather events, trade frictions, and other factors, global agricultural resources are under strain. Imbalances and inadequacies in agricultural development have become more pronounced. The supply, demand, and trade agricultural products are facing tremendous pressure. Therefore, we need to collaborate. And this is the right way forward. In recent years, China has transformed its approach to agricultural development. We have accelerated green agricultural industry trends and also provide more green products. Our green agriculture market has now surpassed 500 billion yuan. We actively promoted free foreign trade and investment cooperation, help other countries in green transition, and also inject new momentum to global green agriculture development. This year's Expo, following last year's approach, we showcased the full chain products and services from farm to table. COFCO, Eli, Cargill, and CP Group and other Fortune Global 500 companies will debut new products and technologies for the first time. So we invite all of you to visit the exhibition to find cooperation opportunities and achieve great results. Today's event focuses on agriculture, technology, innovation, supply chain transformation, the empowerment of agriculture through AI. We hope that you can fully make this advantage to share your insights and to offer constructive suggestions to deepen international cooperation through industrial and supply chains. We also hope that leading companies can play a pioneering role, can deepen cooperation, while achieving their own growth can also bring benefits, healthy, sustainable, and green experiences to consumers. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, as the largest national trade and investment promotion institution, CCPIP has been committed to advancing international cooperation in the green economy. We took lead in launching the China Council of the Sustainable Market Initiative and also the green transition of the agriculture sector. We also formulate international rules and standards and strengthen exchanges and cooperation in green agriculture. Looking ahead, we will further strengthen enterprise support, expand our network of partners, and to promote science-based green, high-quality, and branded agriculture. We hope to drive the green transformation of the entire agriculture chain and hope that all countries and partners can be involved in this supply chain and achieve win-win results. Lastly, I wish this event complete success. I wish all our guests health, smooth work, and fruitful outcomes. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chairperson, Ms. Li. Now let's welcome Jin Shuqi, Deputy Director General of Department of Development Planning. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you, CCPIT, for the invitation. I'm very happy to attend the third Expo. This Expo focuses on connecting the world for a shared future. There is a thematic event on green agriculture. It shows the great emphasis on green agriculture. So on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs of China, I wish this event a great success, and also to thank all the leaders and colleagues for your continuous attention to agriculture. As Vice Person said, green is the defining color of agriculture. Chinese people and Chinese government have continuously focused on sustainable green practice. We have rolled out measures and to achieve tangible results. First, the green supply of agriculture products and to secure a stable supply of agriculture products. In 2024, we achieved 1.4 trillion kgs of food, and to increase lamb, meat, and other food products. And our agricultural irrigation system also improved by 5 percentage points. And also banning fisheries in the Yangtze River Delta region has achieved great results. Fertilizer and also other chemical products were in a reduction. Nationwide, our cropping materials, our recycling of some products also improved a lot. And urban and rural residents are engaged in green practice, and we have more green agricultural products. So people now can have abundant access to food. In the next era, we will embrace high-quality green agriculture development. We will focus on our development needs. This is a priority. Last year, we have issued a document on the green transition of the agriculture as well as for the rural revitalization. We have issued corresponding actions. There are 4 initiatives. First, energy saving and also water resources, and also to cultivate our land. water-saving agriculture to improve energy efficiency and also control fertilizer and other pesticides. Second, to utilize waste products to control at the source and also to return our farmland into grassland. Third, to diversify our agriculture system so that agricultural development can be pursued together with sustainable development. Also, we need to ensure the 10-year ban on fishing in Yangtze River Delta. We have achieved tangible results. So fourth, the green transition of the full cycle of the agricultural chain. We need to focus on farming, a sustainable practice, and also organic products to move our products up the value chain and to increase efficiency while cutting our costs. In terms of a guarantee, we have 5 enhancements. So first, establish the full round green transition. Second, cross-departmental collaboration. Third, government lead guidance. So we will have more favorable policies as well as financial institutions will have green measures. And also for entities should be more proactive. We should also improve green agricultural standards and also our monitoring system. Fourth, to enhance value-added products, to accelerate forestry, tourism, and other sectors so that we can fully benefit from sustainable development and better environment. 5, we should learn from good cases so that they can become demonstration projects. Everyone can be involved in these initiatives. Yesterday, we've launched 35 user cases, so you can learn from them. We focus on green transition. This is our initiative, and it is also a common concern. We hope that with this platform, we can share our insights and experience so that the green agriculture can become possible and we can achieve a harmonious society for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jin. Now let's welcome Mr. Carlos, representative of FAO of the United Nations.
Distinguished
尊敬的女士们、先生们，大家下午好。
It is a privilege to join you at this event on green agriculture. On behalf of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, I extend my deepest gratitude to the organizers, the China Council for the Promotion of International Trade, and the China Chamber of International Commerce for this kind invitation. As a specialized agency of the United Nations, FAO works with 195 members in over 130 countries to achieve global food security. Our mission is to ensure that all people have access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food at all times. Yet, midway through the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, progress on food and agriculture-related goals has stalled or even reversed. FAO projects that 582 million people still face chronic hunger and will face chronic hunger by 2030. The way we produce, process, and distribute food is both part of the problem, but also is part of the solution. Today, agri-food systems generate nearly 1/3 of global greenhouse gas emissions, and 80% of which come from value chain activities such as processing, transport, packaging, and retail. And every year, roughly 14% of all food is lost between harvest and market. Ladies and gentlemen, this is unacceptable. By greening supply chains, we can cut waste and emissions, safeguard natural resources, and strengthen the resilience of farmers and communities. FAO is at the forefront of developing open, science-based tools and methodologies that empower governments, private sector, civil societies, and smallholder farmers to track and reduce commodity-driven deforestation while promoting responsible land use and forest restoration. For example, our 2024 report, Forest Monitoring for Transparent Commodity Supply Chains, guides companies and governments in setting up geospatial systems that track deforestation risk, align with evolving regulations, and help restore ecosystems. In April 2025, FAO Investment Center published the Agri-Food Systems in the Voluntary Carbon Market. This is the first global assessment of agri-food projects in the voluntary carbon markets. Although these projects now represent over 10% of all the initiatives, they have generated just 1% of issue credits, and only 5 countries account for nearly 3/4 of the total. This gap underscores both the immense untapped potential and the urgent need for robust quantification, monitoring, reporting, and verification that delivers real climate benefits while ensuring smallholder inclusion. As one of the world's largest agricultural producers and consumers, China is vital to advancing green agriculture. The country has made commendable progress in integrating sustainability into agricultural development, including conservation tillage, reducing chemical fertilizer and pesticide use, and restoring degraded ecosystems. China's dual carbon goals, achieving peak carbon emissions by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2060, demonstrate its commitment to embedding sustainability across all sectors, including agriculture. Given its influence on global supply chains, China can lead by example and share its innovative practice globally through mechanisms such as South-South cooperation. FAO is proud to partner with China on initiatives that span climate-smart agriculture, digital farming, and sustainable value chain development. Or FAO's One Country, One Priority Product initiative helps smallholder farmers adopt greener practices while accessing new markets. Together, we are forging public-private partnerships, leveraging precision agriculture technologies, and building inclusive platforms that bring women and youth to the center of innovation. All of these efforts align with FAO's strategic framework, which emphasize what is known as the 4 betters: better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. FAO activities in China follow one single but very important mandate. All FAO interventions in China has to be for China, from China, and with China. This reflects our commitment to co-create solutions that resonate locally and scale globally. Building sustainable agri-food systems is more than just an agricultural challenge. By integrating green agriculture into supply chains, we can produce food that contributes to a healthier planet thriving communities, and a brighter future. Let us commit to bold ideas, innovate solutions, and collaborative partnerships that drive this transformation forward. My sincere thanks again to the organizers for convening this important dialogue. I wish all of you a productive and inspiring discussion, and I look forward for working together toward a greener, more resilient future. Thank you to all of you. 大家谢谢。
Thank you, Mr. Carlos Adeco. 下面有请
Next, let's welcome Mr. Dale Bowman, the Senior Vice President of Walmart International.
Thank you very much. I want to, as with the other speakers, offer my appreciation to the organizers for putting together a wonderful event and for giving Walmart the opportunity to spend a couple of minutes to share our perspectives on why the issues we're discussing today, why green agriculture is important to the private sector more broadly, and specifically why it's very important to Walmart, and most importantly, what we think our role is in being a part of the solution to this issue. You know, it's probably obvious to everybody here, but sometimes we're asked, why does Walmart care about these issues? Why does Walmart invest as much time and resources as it does in, sustainability, in green supply chains? And the answer is, first and foremost, the stakeholders who matter most to us, which are our millions of customers here in China and around the world, and the communities where we operate, expect it of us. And secondly, we can't run a successful, thriving business without the focus. Many of the products that we sell, whether it's in our Walmart stores or our Sam's Clubs, are food products. We are increasingly a food business. So if you think of agriculture, if you think of food, produce, it's an increasing important part of our business. But also other things we sell that are important to our customers that are, a lot of the home goods, whether it's sheets or shampoo or other things, also come from nature and depend on ingredients derived from nature. And from, the reason we can be successful as a retailer is because of the partnerships that we have with thousands and thousands of suppliers who help us supply affordable, quality goods for our customers. So, to that end, a big way that we think we can make a difference in this space is partnering with our suppliers around the world. And so, one thing that we have done is set a number of, pretty ambitious goals to push ourselves to achieve success and help create a regenerative business and a regenerative supply chain. A couple of examples. One, what we call Project Gigaton, which is a goal to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by a gigaton, which is 1 billion metric tons from our supply chain by 2030. We also have a goal to more sustainably manage, protect, and restore at least 50 million acres of land and 1 million square miles of ocean. And as I said, achieving these objectives, we can't do them by ourselves. It requires partnership with our suppliers, and it requires giving our suppliers the necessary tools, the necessary innovations to help them innovate, adopt best practices. A few examples of that, Walmart has created deforestation sourcing standards for 4 commodities, including palm oil, beef, soy pulp and paper, and timber. We've helped our suppliers in adopting regenerative agriculture practices. In the U.S., we're helping our suppliers adopt new grazing practices to protect grasslands. and adopt pest management solutions that protect freshwater ecosystems. We're also supporting ocean initiatives in Asia and South America to foster more sustainable fisheries through innovation and sharing best practices, particularly in commodities that are important to our customers, tuna, shrimp, and salmon that rely on healthy ecosystems, but ecosystems that are currently at risk. And through these efforts, I'm pleased to say that as of last year, our suppliers have reported 33 million acres of land and nearly 2 million square miles of ocean that are being more sustainably managed, protected, and restored as a part of these initiatives. The other speakers mentioned, the importance of partnership and collaboration, and I think that's, something that we are going to continue to lean into. But we also know there's things that we can do in our business on our own to help make an impact as well. And we have a responsibility on sustainability. As I said, as a big food retailer, we have a responsibility on green agriculture. And you see around the world, we're taking a number of initiatives within our business to address these issues. A few quick examples from China, where in our Walmart stores and Sam's Clubs, our two business formats here, a few things we're doing. First, equipping stores with intelligent tools to monitor and control energy use, upgrading our lighting, air conditioning, and refrigeration systems to be more environmentally friendly. Some of our stores and distribution centers are increasingly using rooftop solar systems to generate clean energy and reduce emissions. Walmart China has started a number of programs to build a recurring food donation network across China to promote donations of food surplus and avoid food waste across the retail industry. In 2017, our Sam's Club business was the first retailer in China to pilot a certified sustainable seafood traceability system. So there's more examples I could bring from our business here or our business around the world, but I think that the key message that I want to leave is, as I mentioned, this is about partnership, this is about collaboration, this is about whether it's Walmart or any of my other private sector colleagues or our partners in government or elsewhere, all of us bringing our strengths in partnership with others, and in that way, we think that we'll make a meaningful difference on sustainability and help, create a more green agriculture. So thank you again for giving me a few minutes, and I look forward to the rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Podike from Walmart. Next, we'd like to welcome Portugal-China Chamber of Industry and Commerce Secretary General, Mr. Bernardo Mandia. 我们有请葡萄牙中国工商会秘书长。
Next, let's welcome Mr. Bernard, Secretary General of the Portuguese China Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Welcome.
Li Qingshuang, 中国国际贸促委副会长，还有各位嘉宾，我很荣幸能够在第3届中国国际供应链促进博览会发言。这个平台非常的重要，能够促进全球可持续发展和创新的对话。首先要感谢中国国际
Council for the Promotion of International Trade for their kind invitation. It is a privilege to contribute to today's reflections on green agriculture, a topic that resonates strongly in Portugal. At the Portugal-China Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we have long advocated for bridges between our countries and broader regions. Bridges of trade, technology, culture, and mutual respect. However, agriculture has been incorrectly disregarded. In fact, agriculture is a sector that binds people to the land and communities to their roots, which it is the essence of what culture is, the core of what it is transmitted from generation to generation, which is the identity of the people, the ultimate reason why countries exist if one wishes to go that far. In this context, allow me to speak of a lesser known but highly emblematic component of Iberian green agriculture, the breeding of the fighting bull. The fighting bull, actually raised in 9 countries in Europe and Latin America, is a symbol of ecological balance and countryside heritage. Raised in vast untouched pasture lands, these animals live in unique conditions of freedom and well-being, unmatched in any other form of cattle farming. Their grazing supports biodiversity, conserves natural ecosystems, contributes to local economies, and sustains hundreds of thousands of hectares of otherwise abandoned rural land. In fact, eliminating this practice would actually lead to the extinction of the fighting bull and the collapse of a centuries-old, deeply rooted agroecological system. This is an inconvenient truth for those who offer simplistic, often manipulative narratives. True green agriculture must embrace complexity and context. Another sector that illustrates the power of tradition and innovation in green agriculture is the wine industry. We are fortunate to have with us a wine producer from Portugal that is a living testament to the expansion of historical ties between Portugal and China. In fact, Quinta da Marmeleira wine estate was acquired by businessman family Uziwei from Macau in 2013 in response to the Belt and Road Initiative launched by President Xi Jinping. Fast forward to 2025, wine is not just a product, it is a story of terroir, of weather, of culture, and of people. Today, many vineyards in Portugal, like Quinta da Marmeleira, are leading the way in organic certification, regenerative farming, and precision agriculture, while preserving landscapes and fostering tourism and local economies. Quinta da Marmeleira represents the future of green agriculture, not a race to the cheapest method, but a movement towards meaningful, sustainable production that communities are pleased to support and governments are satisfied to promote. With that in mind, let us not forget that the global supply chain is a web of shared responsibilities, and Europe and China have a golden opportunity to work together in areas such as knowledge transfer in agri-tech and smart farming, bilateral certifications for green standards, joint funding for rural regeneration and biodiversity conservation, and digital platforms for farm-to-fork traceability. To conclude, let us remember, agriculture is not just about crops and cattle. It is about respecting the culture of people, biodiversity, ecosystems, and identity. A true green supply chain does not erase complexity. It integrates it. It respects both science and story, both progress and heritage. So let us plant seeds, not only of innovation, but of international cooperation, cultural humility, and long-term ecological thinking. Thank you once again for this opportunity, and I look forward for the continuation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mandia. 那女士们、先生们，上面我们就结束了我们的嘉宾发言。
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our speeches. Now we will move to our panel discussion. We will welcome guests to the stage.
Our speakers mentioned that greenhouse gas generated by agriculture represent 1/3 of all green gas emissions, which is amazing. That's why we need to put a lot of focus on green transformation of the agricultural sector. And our guest from Walmart mentioned that Walmart is utilizing some green technologies, such as putting those solar panels on the rooftop to generate energy for themselves to use. Actually, many visitors, in millions of them, when they visit China, I think much of their attention has been paid to China's great infrastructure, like the high-speed trains and the skylines. But I think equally, many of them are fascinated by interesting reality that is the very delicious, diverse, and affordable food in China. That's in sharp contrast with very high food prices and cost of living crisis in many Western countries. So this is my second time hosting Green Agriculture Forum on Supply Chain Expo. I'm personally very interested in this forum because I think China's achievement in agriculture, being able to feed 1.4 billion people for so many years and able to provide some lessons globally, are as equally or not even maybe more important than its achievements in other sectors such as high tech, such as internet, electric vehicles, such as robotics. Those things you can find also in the Supply Chain Expo. So 下面我们将进入今天的
Now let's move to the panel discussion. We have 3 discussions. Now first introduce the panel 1. Let's welcome Liu Chang, Vice President of Cargill Greater China, Sun Yonghua, Vice President of North Asia region of Louis Dreyfus Group, Chen Jianbing, Vice President of Supply Chain Management of Yum China, Mr. Hu Bo, Vice President and Secretary of the Board of Directors of Yuan Longping Agriculture High-Tech Company. Take a seat. We have 4 panelists, and we will talk in Chinese. So first question for Ms. Liu Chang. Last year we had a dialogue here. Do you remember me? Yes. From last year's dialogue, I learned that Cargill has a history of over 160 years. With a strong supply chain in the world, Cargill has undergone many challenges and difficulties. Now, facing the new situation in industrial and agricultural supply chains, we face a lot of uncertainties. As a company with a long history, how do you cope with these challenges, as well as maintain your strategic goals? Thank you for your question. Hello, everyone. First, thank you for the invitation from the CCPIT and FAO for the opportunity to share my insights. I'm very honored to talk on behalf of Cargill. Cargill has a history of over 160 years. Our headquarters is in Minnesota in the United States. We have 160,000 colleagues around the world. We've just talked about our previous challenges. So over the past 160 years, we've been through a lot, both ups and downs, difficulties and challenges. But we have pursued in a steady pace and also expanded our presence globally. For me, the driving force is our insistence and commitment to values and also our company culture. So our mission is to use responsible, safe, and sustainable ways to nurture the world. Many years, we have been committed to the promise. For us, our role is to link. It's just like this Expo as a link between farm and table, between farmers and markets, between source materials and enterprises, between people and animals, and also the nutritions. And through our role and our understanding and our commitment to our mission, we integrate our resources and also consider local market demands so that we can better understand our customers' needs and to respond to market changes so that we can collaborate with our upstream, downstream customers to overcome challenges. And together, we can find solutions and to grab business opportunities. So no matter what kind of business challenges, we need to stay true to our mission. So I think no matter what happens, regardless of geopolitical tensions, our goal is the same. We need to eat, and this has remained the same. Another company with 174 years, Louis Dreyfus, please share your experience. There is a processing sector in China, such as rice and oil. You pay attention to green and eco practice. So could you share with us your experience? Thank you for the opportunity to share with you my insights. As the moderator has said, we had a history of 174 years. We are an EU company. In 1973, we started cotton trade in China. And we are a we witness and experience China's reform and opening up in green agriculture. We have our sustainable, eco-friendly, and low-carbon practice and promise. In China, in Zhangjiagang, Tianjin, Dongguan, we have 100% sustainable and renewable energy. And through this period, we also use photovoltaic power, such as rooftop photovoltaic solar panels. At that time, we didn't think much about the returns. The Chinese government has continuously supported low-carbon practices, and we realized that our PV actions can actually have some carbon credits. So in the sustainable green agriculture industry, we focus on commodities. Last year in Guangzhou, Nansha, we had first shipping. We want to reduce carbon emissions. In China, we have many good practices, and we want to use our Chinese experience and upscale it to the global. Then, Yum China. We all know Yum, KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, Huang, and Lavazza, a very famous coffee brand, all belong to Yum China. Yum China has over 16,000 stores in China. So it has a great sourcing power. It has control over enterprises upstream and downstream. So you have a great role to play.
I'm very honored to meet you, Mr. Zheng, and thank you, Mr. And I would like to thank CPIT for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Sun and Ms. Liu are from the four green houses in China and set a big standard in China. And in some way, are they your suppliers? Yeah, you can put it that way. Yes, actually, you can put it that way. They are our partners. Yes. And let's get back to Yum China. Mr. Zhang knows quite well about our company. We came into China in 1980s and opened the first store in Qianmen district. And also, in terms of digitalization, we have been promoting it in all our customers and be upgrading to different generations. and using these technologies increase our efficiency, and also by using this mapping algorithms to increase our management efficiency. And at the same time, for this food safety, we could manage it and to precisely target at risks using the artificial intelligence, and which is generative, so that we can predict how the pricing and the market the volatility of it. And also in terms of procurement, I would like to brief you about that. Last year, faced with the global market, we have built a big international platform for suppliers procurement. Since its launching last year, and on our official website and our WeChat account and the Red Note, we have, through our promotion, we have received the registration of over 2,000 suppliers. And hereby, I would like to invite more suppliers to participate on this platform so that we can build an ecosystem. It's just like what the United Nations is doing right now. The suppliers would file their information in, and with the certificates, yes, it can increase the efficiency for the letting in of the suppliers, and also to level up a good playground. And next, let's welcome Mr. Hu Bo, the Vice President and Secretary of the Board of Directors of Yuan Longping Agriculture High-Tech Company. And this is a company launched by Mr. Yuan Longping in the year of 2000, and mainly focusing on the technologies of seeds. Now, with the climate change ongoing rapidly, and we all have this consensus that its impact on the seeds and agriculture, and we hope that the seeds are resistant to to the flood and to the different changes, the volatility of the weather, and also the local agriculture as well. So I believe your company should have those secrets about the seed technologies. Yes. Our company is mainly focusing on the breeding of the seeds. Every year, we use our 10% of the markets into R&D to solve the challenges under the under this climate change. So how can we make our seeds more resistant to all those situations? Based on this topic, we are more talking about the machines and agriculture, and we are more thinking about how the seeds could provide better productivity. But I believe it's not the case. For example, in terms of the wheat breeding, and since our launching of the company, over 100,000 mu of the acre of our land, and among them, we have planted that the disease-resistant breed, which could reduce the use of the fertilizer, so that in the wheat breeding, we could reduce 4,100 tons of the use of fertilizers. And also, we are in the 46 of our breeds and special wheats. They are not just resistant to those pesticides, but also they have this ability to absorb the nitrogen, so that we can reduce the nitrogen-related fertilizer by 30%, so that we can reduce the use of that. And at the same time, for the grain, just like the porridge, which is one of the Chinese favorite cuisines, one of the two bowls of the porridge is from the grain, from the millets. However, as it requires a great irrigation, just use one type like our new type. And now we have expanded 120 million of mu, but And it is not just about productivity, but also it attributed to the green agriculture and also provide high value to our agriculture chain. Wow, that's so wonderful. Each and every country is briefing about what is new about our company so that we could get to know the updates of our upstream and downstream partners. Is that the same for you? Because I believe that this expo is not unique to China, but to put supply chain to a very high position so that in this industry, I believe the enterprises could gather together to share their thoughts and ideas. So what's your impression on the expo and what's your take from the expo? Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree with you. For me, I believe Chinese Expo is the first one that is focusing on the supply chain. This is our third Expo, and I believe Cargill is also our third time of participation. And in terms of my take from this expo, I believe this is not just a place to showcase our technologies, products, and solutions, but also I believe it has provided the enterprises like Gali, headquartered in the United States, to get to know our markets. It also works as provides us an opportunity to link with up and downstream, domestic and abroad, so that in this very short time of days, we can intensively cooperate and have dialogues with our partners, not just like our partners like Louis Dreyfus and also our partners and people and companies to look up to here in China, like the Yuan Longping Agriculture High Technology Company. While we're having these conversations, the clash of insights, since we are faced with the same kind of challenges, and to some extent we share the same worries and some of the topics to work on. So I believe that we are inspired to cooperate, and I believe Expo plays a bigger role in our daily life as a number of enterprises are emerging with multiple country participants from different countries. So our topic today is the green technology innovation and the conversation of ecological value. And just as Mr. Hu has mentioned, that I believe seed is just like the chip to agriculture. The innovation of it certainly will lead to the industry innovation. And roughly, I believe it's related to the carbon footprint and also to the ecological value, and it could be achieved by commercial values as well. For example, if I adopted some of the low carbon products without some of the fertilizers or the chemicals, so that the customers could be served with better quality products. And my question to Mr. Sun is that in terms of technology innovation, you have adopted several of the keys. You even use the satellites and sensors so that you can gather those data timely, so that for the commodities production and distribution that you could have better management. Is that it? And you just mentioned the satellite remote sensing, and it is widely applied in the agriculture. Since we are dealing with the big commodities, thus in terms of the scale and the trend, the change of the climates, we are very sensitive to those factors. And in the past, for many years, for car juice and also for Louis Dreyfus as well, we have made several of our innovative approaches. And in terms of the satellite remote sensing and also with working with the professional groups in terms of the green agriculture, I believe every country has its own requirement and missions and initiatives. For example, for the olive oil, in olive oil, we could achieve the palm oil. We could trace the palm oil's production and also to work together with our partners up and downstream to use the digitalized approaches to stamp the procedures. And in the past, we have been talking about from the farmland to our dining table. That I believe that is a key technology to support that. As one of the leaders in agriculture, we are striving for those missions and goals. With those investments, what would be the outcome for the company? Can this input benefit your company and be translated into commercial values? Yeah. In terms of commercial values, I think it takes quite a long time, but that will definitely exceed the expectations. For example, we use the PV technologies, and we were not expecting how can we use the PV technology to reduce our carbon footprint. So thus, on this very long supply chain of agriculture and influenced by this long-term life cycle, we need to adopt a long-term view over that. And also, it is not just about the commercial value, but also the ecological value as well. Yes. And it is about the ESG, right? And I would like to ask Mr. Chen about Yum China. We know that Yum China is such a vast company, and with numerous shops. And China may be the largest market, and maybe not. And in terms of your practices, worldwide, do you think are there practices that China could learn from them, and how can the Chinese practices be influencing and be adopted overseas? Thank you. Thank you. That's quite a good question, because after we entered China, 38 years for KFC, and for a lot of we do not have abundant resources in terms of the kitchen and farm, poultry, but now working with a lot of Chinese enterprises with the advancement of the technologies, especially in the special chicken breeds that we have adopted, we have upgraded from the workshops to the world cutting edge technologies, from the selecting to the breeding to the processing, and we could be in line with the world cutting edge technologies. And also for the French fries, which were imported 100% in old days, but now with our efforts to cultivate with the Chinese domestic companies, and we have worked with Chinese company Sichuan so that we can leverage our bilateral advantages so that we can breed better quality potatoes and to build the sophisticated processing lines so that we can empower our suppliers and supply chains in China. Yeah, I think Chinese customers could feel that Yum Chang's innovative capabilities. Thanks to that, KFC has promoted a new product which is called that the hot pot with beef tongues. But I think you need to develop the cold chain as well. So how did you do that? Yeah, to respond to your question, in terms of innovation, we have been providing our customers with innovative and high-quality food experiences and cuisines, and that's our mission shared by everyone in our company. And working with our suppliers, I think that's a win-win cooperation. And it is also a two-way dialogue. When we have certain requirements, we would contact our suppliers, no matter if it's domestic or abroad. And if they have good ideas or insights, they could get those ideas back to us as well. So I will give them a chance to give us a demo to demonstrate their ideas, from a vision to a sample and affirmation of the sample, so that we can produce it in big commodities. I think that is.
is a co-building and a co-prosperous model. Now we have AI, big data, and other analytical tools. We can use them. Yes. We have an intelligent and digitalization-driven policy. We have an innovation team dedicated to that aspect. We use big language models, big data, so we can quickly review and analyze the market and also the trends. And then we can share our ideas with our suppliers. And a question for Mr. Hu. Mr. Chen just said that at first they needed to import potatoes from overseas countries because the domestically produced potatoes did not meet their requirements and standards. So in terms of seed, how does it affect the whole supply chain? I want to share with you some cases. Mr. Chen said about the potatoes import. Actually, back then, previously, internationals led the seed ING and monopolized seed ING. So actually, 40% of the sunflower oil seed was produced by us. Now we face insufficient consumer demands. We face great pressure. Now we don't feel pleasure in just eating KFC, so we are looking for solutions in the upstream suppliers. We have some low oil sunflower oil seed. So for my father, who is 80 years old, he really enjoys the sunflower oil seed. And another example, Zhongliang Group. A delegation visited us. He said that now we checked the quality of rice, and especially in the Yangtze River Delta, one kind of metal actually exceeds the standard. And now we have improved in that. This is because over 7 to 8 years' efforts, we have found a better crop, and which will absorb a less heavy metal and is more favorable for us to eat. So now our metal percentage is 0.026, far below the national standard, so just feel safe to eat. And we have promote our rice in scale and reached 3 million mu. For food companies, more and more food companies come to us, like Haitian. We say that agriculture is like a cheap industry. Seed will affect the supply chain, just like mobile phone companies. Their core target is a chip, and seed is our chip. Sometimes we say that Yuan Longping has provided us with ample food to eat, so we don't want to move, just want to sit. When I travel to Japan, I find that they have great varieties of rice, and their price is quite expensive. The price increased by 90%. And now through some methods, they have controlled the price. You've mentioned about some data such as our scale and our productivity. So now in supermarkets and online platforms, like organic rice, we face a lot of different types of rice and of different prices. So in the future, we will see more varieties of rice. This is because of technological advancement. So there is a large space for us. I think not only followed the spirit of Mr. Yuan Longping. We not only need to feed our people, we also need to think of how to provide better food for our people. So it needs to be delicious, to be nutritious. Then we can bring more innovative businesses and opportunities for our suppliers. Then a question for Ms. Liu. In terms of technological innovation, such as digital management. So without digital management, young China may need to rely on one person who knows really well about China's supply chain system and all the personnel. For example, today which supplier, tomorrow which. Now we have a strong supply chain. So what kind of digital transformation has been achieved in your company? Thank you. Kaijio has also actively promoted technological innovation and digital transformation. Behind digitalization, there is continuous R&D and innovation. We know that for a company to prosper, R&D is the key. Kaijio greatly values innovation and R&D. Last year, we innovated and upgraded our R&D center in Shanghai. We know that in China, we have a large consumer base. They have high standards for high-quality food, organic food, green food, and also nutritious food. Only through innovation, R&D, can we meet consumers' higher expectations and demands. So in terms of innovation and R&D, we have put a lot of efforts. At the same time, innovation and R&D need to be combined with green sustainable practice. At Expo's exhibition area, we have showcased our latest technology, which is used in the shipping. In international trade, especially in food oil, we need to counter the long distance difficulty because it means huge carbon emissions. So we have a wind technology. So in the Panama shipping, we have a sailing as high as 37.5 meters. And with sustainable and renewable sources and fuels, we can use wind power and solar power to replace traditional fossil fuels. And this platform has been completed in Shanghai, and the ship now was launched in Shanghai. And through the fourth voyage, we find that through this project, we could save and reduce carbon emissions by over 37%. This may even have an impact in the shipbuilding industry. I hope this can be a mutually beneficial project. This talk about using natural power to drive as the engine for our ship. Now I would like to ask Ms. Sun. Your company has, in terms of green evaluation and transformation of ecological value, you shoulder a great responsibility considering the scale of your company. So in terms of the mechanism, could you share with us your experience? So as a large company, how can you promote the food industry, the processing industry, and how to transfer the value? So first, as a big company with century-old experience, our CEO always said that we've experienced the First and Second World Wars. We've also experienced the natural disasters and also different accidents and incidents. So for us to vision a company's growth, we take a long-term perspective. So we don't think about the short-term gains or profits. You have been asking me about the return on profits. So we will think about our economic benefits, our costs, and then we will think about our ecological investment. We, as an agriculture business, we harvest from and we benefit from nature. So we need to give back to nature. We need to adopt a long-term perspective. And in terms of the evaluation, we need to have a multiple dimensional view. So I would say it was a quite complicated evaluation system for the transformation of ecological value. And Mr. Chen, the last question for you. Your stores covered over 2,200 cities and rural areas in China. This is a quite large presence in China. So you can exert a lot of influence in the full supply chain, such as cold chain, such as sourcing, production, and processing. So what kind of influence do you have? Thank you for the question. Yum China values ESG. Now in the US and Hong Kong, we are a listed company. We are committed to the Paris Agreement and also the 29th COP conference. We are committed to collaborating with our upstream and downstream partners, and by 2050 to reduce net zero carbon emissions in the whole supply chain. This is not something easy to achieve. We need to consider our investment and our profits. And this is also our long-term commitment. So based on our business features and strategic plans, we have 3 measures. So first, to increase the efficiency of energy and resource use, and second, to transform the energy. We need to grasp the opportunities provided by renewable energy. We have zero waste plant as a demonstration project. Also, we collaborated with our upstream and downstream partners to build a low-carbon industrial chain and to enhance our resilience to natural disasters and other uncertainties. In 2023, we led the industry in promoting a self-owned PV project and also green electricity purchase project. We are encouraging our suppliers to use renewable energy and green energy. At the same time, we want suppliers to share their experience so we can provide better resources for them to pursue a green transition. As you said, we want to expand our influence, so we need to have a traceability system in the upstream. And this is a demonstration role also for our partners. We prioritize suppliers who have organic certification and sustainable practice.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hu, I know that the seeds from your company has been expanding and applied widely for the past 3 decades. And do you have those promotion cases on the international stage? Have you been trying to promote the chips of Chinese agriculture to the world market? Oh, yes. We've been talking about the seeds' contribution to the productivity and green development. And what is agriculture to feed our people? And green development means that we need to be environmentally friendly for the enterprises in the upstream supply chain. For example, some of the international grain merchants and food companies are trying to find ways to increase efficiency of logistics and also reduce the carbon emissions. I've been working in COFC for 10 years, so I know it's really hard to reduce the cost and the carbon footprints. It would take a lot of effort to do that. And for Chinese people, we've been talking about we should be doing good things, even if it is trivial. So for a seed company, what is our solution? We believe that we would solve the challenge from the upstream. And even though we have produced less than 300 million kilograms sold, but we have been attributed to 5 million of that carbon reduction. And we will not be putting too much efforts for production, and then we would transport that into another areas. We wouldn't do that. We would be locally produced and locally delivered to reduce the carbon footprint. And I know do you know that Bill Gates have written a very good book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster? And I believe when it comes to agriculture, the production and its impact in terms of the carbon emissions, and as we've been talking about the use of fertilizers and chemicals, and also the pollutions along the way of transportation. So our way to reduce that is very simple. If the product is locally produced, I believe that is more environmentally friendly than 5 million seeds imported from other countries. So we are putting some of the Chinese technologies and solutions to the world. We've been providing over 100 countries, over 260 of those seed recipes, and been training 11,000 technicians to driving the development of agriculture for the countries along the Belt and Road. And so all those countries, they are quite reliant on the food imports. However, they do have abundant farms, and I believe what they lack is not the import and also the food delivery, but they need to put more focus on how to increase the productivity. And our Foreign Minister Wang Yi just gave a like to one of the African farmers' videos who have just went through a very big challenge, and he has changed his poor farm and built into one of the biggest farmland in agriculture with a yield of 1.08 billion. The output is basically the same that as of China. So how can we use the technologies from the upstream to achieve the green agriculture, even if our income is less than 1.2 billion US dollars? And I think that is a far journey away compared with your revenues. But if we calculate it by the green content, I think we would be the number one. Yes, I believe our teachers and students in red shirts, they will be very interested in this topic, and also some of the African countries, African friends, they would be very interested. And they will be interested in the seed technology. Okay, since time is quite limited, that is the first discussion about the agricultural technology innovation and the conversion of ecological value. We have invited 2 of the 4 grain food warehouses and also one of the 2 big heads in terms of the food companies. And we also invited our distinguished Yuan Longping agriculture high-tech companies. And we know that in agriculture, the standard of green development and the incentives for the green development and also the conversion of the ecological value, that is still up to discuss, since we've got such a long supply chain and also industrial chain, and also here in China, the farmers are kind of like working by individuals or small groups. So if we are asking them to form a cross-regional culture, that we do not have a clear schedule to how to achieve that. But I can feel that everybody is very positive and confident with their job and with the prospects for the near future. So I think we could take step by step to achieve our goals. And okay, that's the end of this panel discussion. Right. What a good timing. And here comes to the next panel discussion. And they will be inviting another 5 delegates to talk about the low-carbon innovation and sustainable advancement in green agricultural supply chains. And let's welcome Mr. Goulet, the Chief Impact Officer of McDonald's chain. And let's welcome Mr. Zhao Bo, Deputy General Manager of China Agricultural Mechanization Science Research Institute Group, and let's welcome Yang Bingbing from the Deputy Chairman of Yuhe Group, Xin Kai, Deputy General Manager of Sinomag Digital Technology, and Lin Han, Vice President of Thermo King Asia Pacific of Train Technologies. And the host has great trust in me, so I was the host. I'm not only the host for the previous panel, but the next panel as well. So in order to prepare for this discussion, I have searched a lot about them from their official websites, from DeepSeek, and also I have sent many of the questions and received feedbacks from them as well. So I would like to know more about your company. So if I made a mistake, you can just interrupt and we can talk about it. And we know that McDonald's has already become a Chinese company, isn't it? Yes. Yes. Since 2011. With CITIC, and we have established the Golden Arcs, and we have entered the Golden Arc era. But I believe that the McDonald's practices are leading the whole industry. So every single day and every single week, I think it is a good a pleasurable time for the Chinese families to enjoy a dine at McDonald's. So I know that you have adopted some of the green agriculture, for example, the McDonald's farms, and for the regenerative agricultural programs to lead the industry's development. Could you please brief us about the regenerative agriculture efforts? Yes, I can see that you do have done your homework. Yes, the McDonald's farmland, to let the customers get to know more about behind the supply chain, what kind of efforts and resources what we have done in terms of the green development. Actually, in the food supply chain, it's definitely from the farmland to our dining table. In the past few years, not just the past few years, since the launching of McDonald's, and we had this culture of triangular stoop, which is a symbol of that our relationship with our partners and to show how stable that cooperation is. Since the food is the starting point of all our industries projects, thus we pay much attention to the source and its safety and ensure and guarantee with a guarantee. And we've been doing that sustainable agriculture. And in 2023, we are working with our 9 major suppliers with the regenerative agriculture program so that we can make it to be scalable and systemized and upgraded. And we hope that we can put these practices to the forefront of the agricultural development to provide with safety products to our customers. And also through our efforts, we can let our customers see what we are doing right now. So now there's over 5,000 farmers have participated in it for the poultry, for the raising of pigs, chicken, etc. Yes, this program has been covering many of the programs. For example, the chicken breeding, pig breeding, and the potatoes, cabbages, etc. In the past, McDonald's in the past 4 decades for the sustainable agricultural development. I think that is a summary of it from the activities, because this is the McDonald's supply chain day. So we will take this opportunity to launch our McDonald's supply chain. As the leader in this industry, we are trying to help the food suppliers to work together to achieve regenerative agriculture. And I am not trying to compare with Yum China, but just Yum China has mentioned that they have this platform to attract the suppliers on the platform. Is that the same thing? Well, our theory is based on the triangular stoop culture. So our suppliers have been working with us for quite a long time. For McDonald's chain is not just involving the international suppliers, but also the local companies, leaders, backbone enterprises, and also for those international companies, they also invest in China and build factories. Why we call it McDonald's chain? Because they are investing in China as well. So over 90% of our food resources are locally produced, and for those partners, overseas, they are also the top 500 companies. So I think it's a win-win cooperation. And just like what this Expo is expecting us, that we are gathering the joint efforts, the synergy. Yes, Expo is surely good, surely correct in inviting them. In the past, that when we're talking about agriculture, it's about hard work. But now people are using machinery, and during the 2 sessions, and I have been working with many of the CPPCC, that a lot of the small and medium farmers in the hilly areas, and their farmlands are quite scattered. Thus, we need to adopt lightweight machineries, and now plus digitalization, now plus green transition. So how is agricultural machinery going right now? Thank you. You just talk about the machinery adopted in hilly and mountainous regions. From our institution's perspective, we have been putting that as our mission as well. So targeted at the machinery adopted at the hilly areas, and we are trying to make the high quality, efficient, and those features for the mountainous regions, and also plus the agriculture, plus machinery, and plus intelligent development. And while we are doing our practices, we found that firstly, that we focus on the integration of agriculture together with machinery, because in those hilly areas, the planting practices are quite different compared with the plateaus. So for those special scenarios, we need to gather together the machinery experts and agriculture experts, and also plus the machinery technologies, so that we should gather together all the knowledges to break through the challenges. So we have developed the small and light machineries, for example, for the vegetables, and for the cabbages harvesting, we have yes, exactly. That is a machine targeted at harvesting cabbages, for carrots as well. So I think the underlying principle is very different for different vegetables. Thus, and for the commercial vegetables, and also for different valuable. And how can they do that? Are they renting those machines, or are they buying those machines? Well, I think there's just the multiple ways. For example, they can just buy the machines, and also they can work with the workshops for the agriculture, so that they can rent those machines from the workshops. And secondly, we put much focus on the
in hilly and mountainous areas, from pre-production, production, after post-production, we provide comprehensive services. For many crops, we have different plans. From the seedling to land to growing, planting, and harvesting, and as well as processing, we will have a full train machinery equipment. For vegetables, we have a full train equipment. We have a variety of equipment. And also for potatoes, we have a full process machinery. For potatoes, we will shake, and then the soil can be separated from the potatoes, and that's how we can harvest potatoes. Third, we focus on intelligent technologies. We mainly focus on green, electric machinery, and also suited for hilly areas. For electric planting methods, and also intelligent dripping methods, and also transporting, we have more up-to-date technologies, and we are scaling up their application. Very interesting. Next time, if we bring our children to the fields, we can teach them how to use the machines instead of grow the plants by ourselves. Actually, we can use a machinery on site, or we can learn from videos. Now, Ms. Yang, Optimize Group. How do you optimize the green agriculture chain? Thank you. It's my great pleasure to share with you. I want to talk something else first. You talked about in hilly areas, how can we promote machinery? I think about my hometown, Hunan province. Most of the areas are mountainous areas. I feel really close to Ms. Zhao. I learned machinery in undergraduate program. Our Youhe group, You stands for optimization, and He means integration. Also, we hope to attract good partners. First, introduce our group. Several figures. We are a global Fortune 500 company. Our upstream products are also sourced from five regions in the world. We have trade, service, information, and cash flow. And 3 stands for our downstream consumers, about 30,000 consumers, and they are business customers because we are doing a B2B business model. We have 2 networks. First is online platform, and I will introduce it later. And another network is on the ground. Actually, it is our on-site service points. For consecutive 10 years, we've imported frozen protein, especially meat, and we ranked first in China in terms of the import volume. And this is an overview of our company. And now, based on today's theme, green, low-carbon practice, we talked about 4 streams in terms of the logistics. First is the cold chain storage. It consumes a lot of energy. Cold chain is known as the city's refrigerator. So how can we decarbonize the process? So first, firstly, we introduce the 4.0 era for the industrial parks, and this is for our cold chains. We can combine different business forms and to reduce the logistics between different businesses and to reduce energy consumption. Another figure is 3. In 3 economic zones in Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei economic zone, and also in central China, we have modern industrial parks. And then the figure 2. Our cold chain network has an off-site place and also has an online platform. And the last figure is 1. We have a goal of better serving our clients in reducing energy consumption and to practice ESG. So how can we achieve low carbon, low energy consuming a pattern? So in terms of refrigerator from temperature control, we've introduced new technologies. We have a new management system to significantly reduce energy consumption. So in terms of maintaining the temperature, we know that seals, they can live under -0 degrees. So how can they survive in that environment, and how can they keep warm? So we learn from these animals. And we want to conserve more energy by technological innovation. So we both innovate our technologies as well as optimize our system, such as different sectors, different parts of our supply chain. And also how to optimize our engagement with our clients so as to reduce the necessary processes. You've mentioned a lot of statistics. So how do you value your company? Like in terms of the energy consumption, do you think there is a large space for you? I think we always strive for better. We hope that our client will have better experience. For example, in temperature control, like steak and other frozen products, their quality actually reduces after a lot of sections. So we don't eat high quality steak. Sometimes when you defrost a steak, you feel like the quality is not as good as it is used to be. So through the efforts of the whole supply chain, we want to reduce the temperature waves and fluctuation. And there are many things we can do to maintain the quality of products. And also probably from the molecular perspective, we can use more data. And then Xingkai from Sinomac Digital Technology. You've not only managed the machinery, but also combined digital technologies to collect machinery, to analyze machinery, and to better utilize it. So could you tell us about Agri-Machine Cloud? So I will briefly introduce it. In 2022, the State Council established over 40 cloud And Sinomac is our upstream company. And our company is the founder of the cloud service, and it utilizes internet technology. So by knowing the trajectory, knowing the data of the machinery itself, we want to process the data and analyze the data so that it can serve for the fishery, the husbandry, and other sectors. We hope we can mobilize the government and also promote the industry upgrading. And based on the cloud service, we can provide a dispatching platform, and this achieved many functions, such as smart dispatching, operation traceability. Now we have 1.05 million of machinery, and we covered a land of 339 million mu, and the daily data is over 600 million. And we have connected with over 1,972 business providers, and also many machinery emergency response team, so that we can provide better data support for the emergency incidents in the agriculture sector. So in terms of extreme weather conditions, we can use machinery to help, to assist. And Mr. Zhao, do you know about the AgriTech Cloud? Yeah, we belong to the same group. We have contributed our part. Mr. Xin introduced about the statistics. So how can we collect statistics? That's in the agriculture infrastructure, we will have an end-use service. And from that service or platform, we can collect data, and then we will send our data to the if we want to have a good cloud service, we need to have the good infrastructure. So we need to plan early. The machinery cloud covers 4 aspects: storage, processing, and Lin Han, Vice President of Thermo King. Thermo King, you add King, so could you tell us the meaning of it? Thermo King is known for business machinery and also home AC. And King is like the heart of the core of our core business. This is cold chain. So our brand is known as the Cold King. You've mentioned about stick, and we are the provider of cold chain. So do you have collaborations with Ms. Yang?
So they are upstream and potential customers. Yes, potential key accounts, I think. And could you please brief us about in some of the technologies in the cold chain transportation could reduce the carbon emissions and could be very effective? For example, that they have talked about that some of the technologies adopted by the yes, we have been adopting, putting so much time and efforts. And he is also here to talk about the technologies. And we are talking about the green agriculture and environmental protection today. And this year, the 14th five-year plan is talking about the 30% of the incremental goal, and we are also contributing to achieve that. So from the 2 meters of vehicles to 20 meters of vehicles, we have achieved the we have adopted the EV vehicles, which could achieve the zero emission. Thus, in terms of technology, our vehicles, especially our units, they are lightweighted. We have adopted aluminium framework. Yes, I got to know that they are very light so that they can run very far, and also that is also the power source of the unit. And because they are using electricity at its power, thus after being charged, they could run and cover larger ranges and also with higher efficiency. And in the past, we use fixed frequency in no time, but now we have achieved the variable frequency. Another one is that we are trying to be accurate. We are using different foods. Different foods may have different requirements for the temperature. Thus, and the mix of the temperature should be less than 0.5 Celsius degree, and that is one of our features and advantages. And what about the investment? How can we measure whether that's cost effective, since we have invested so much about the vehicles? I think we need to talk about our mission. We've been investing in the Chinese industry, and I would like to quote Hai Zi's poem. From today, I care about the food and vegetables. So how can we care about food and vegetables? We need to cherish food and vegetables by technologically to find a way to solve this environmental problem. So we take our time and listen to our technicians. How can we surpass other companies in terms of the green technologies? We've been thinking about it day and night to achieve a better result. Right, thank you. And we'll be getting back to you very soon. And let's ask Mr. Gu about McDonald's new achievements. Since we are very attentive about McDonald's food sources, you talked about the 90% that is locally produced, and also the farm is and the farmland is also sustainable while they are raising those poultry and the livelihoods. So how can we achieve that? Yes, we have worked together, our 9 cooperators, in terms of the sustainable chain, focusing on the water, the farmers, and farmlands, etc. 5 areas, focusing on the systematic changes and solutions. We are more likely to focus about the natural resources, restoration abilities, and also some of the requirements for practices. But I think the key lies in the regenerative agricultural program is that our farmers' abilities. Thus, once we announce the regenerative program, we have proposed that we are trying to cultivate in 5 years 20,000 backbone farmers as a team, so that they can expand and extend the technologies. In 2 years, we have made fruitful results. In terms of the regenerative agriculture, we have piloted some of the zones for testing cells, and through these units and activities to make more testing to see whether we can summarize these technologies and knowledges. And also we have cultivated 5,000 backbone farmers already with deeper knowledge in terms of regenerative agriculture, like what you have mentioned about, like the droplet irrigation technology, etc. And this is in our first project in terms of the potato breeding. And this year actually marks the 40th years of the potato breeding in China. McDonald's has already celebrated its 30th anniversary, but why 40 years of growing potatoes? Yes, in 1990s, before we entered the Chinese market, our suppliers, based on our triangular stoop theory, they advanced. Before we entered China, they were beginning to plant potatoes. Well, did it have to take such a long time? Yes, it is. Please visit our booth so that you can get to know how the potatoes could be grown from seed to small to large potatoes. Thus, agriculture would take time. And let's get back to the topic. Why are we focusing on the production and one restoration and also sustainable ecology and our people? Because with some of the changes and ways that could have a longer impact. Here we are talking about the green agricultures, and I noticed that it's very interesting that we gather together delegates from other tech companies except us, and they are more focusing on the machineries. However, we are more focusing on the products, and we are directly faced with the customers. But you are all using their services. Your farmers would be benefiting from the technologies. Yes, they are our technology providers. Yes, so I think if you got to say that we share one thing in common is that we are now taking a look at, if we take the supply chain's perspective, we are the chain leader, and we would like to play a bigger role and take a better position to achieve sustainable development and meet the requirements. So to work together with our suppliers to achieve that mission. On my way to this event, we not only launched the McDonald's supply chain, but also another initiative. And this initiative, working together with the 11 suppliers in this expo, and one commitment in that initiative is that how we are going to go together in the future in terms of sustainable development. How can we make the practices in the regenerative agriculture to be applied in more scenarios and in more cases? The second point in that initiative is that how can we deepen our cooperation? And thirdly, we touched upon the digitalization and the chains behind that. But I think the underlying mechanism is that the underlying point is the sustainable development. Yes, you can just focusing on selling French fries and chicken nuggets without caring about those things, but you have traced back to the original sources to teach the farmers to be regenerative in terms of agricultural production, and also by doing that, you safeguard the quality of your products. Yes, we are such a big platform for consumers, so we have served 1.3 billion customers last year. So we want to go directly and promote the upstream enterprises to work with us in this green transition process. For example, the regenerative agriculture, so that we can work better as the chain leader. Yes, to me, chain leader is the one who pays, right? And they are more indirectly participated in it. And just as Yum China in McDonald's as the big signage at the railway station and the train station, right? And with the big brands. And thus, you need to have this critical thinking about yourselves on how you can promote and upgrade your business so that the customers could have more trust in your products. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. And thanks for this expo, for giving this opportunity so that we can do more sharing. For example, this time we have published the McDonald's chain and also the cuisine food chain as well, to let more customers to focus to get to know what kind of efforts we have done before and after. And also, on this platform, we can share our thoughts and ideas and learn from other good practices. Yes. Besides the McDonald's chain, have you launched some of the new products? For new products, yes, we do have. Welcome to our booth. We do have prepared you some of the ice cream. My Xuanfeng. Yes, I have 1v1 interview with Ying Ye, and he actually was eating McDonald's ice cream and burgers. He only had 3 minutes, so I believe he believed that McDonald's is the safety choice for him. Exactly. In the burger, you've got the proteins, the vegetables, everything you need, right? All right. I would like to jump back to Mr. Yang. So, is you a supplier to Yum China or McDonald's? Are you? Yes, indirectly, not directly. Some of our downstream customers, they are the suppliers to the McDonald's. And as we know that some of the beefs in McDonald's is imported from other countries. Yes, I know. You do have a network which is called udingto.com. Just as what you have mentioned in the first speech, that you would like to use this platform for the information to get integrated and exchanged. So could you please brief us how that network has been working to achieve the strategic goals you have mentioned? Yes, I really would like to talk about that because in terms of agricultural products, unlike the telephones or and other 3C products which are highly standardized without much requirements for temperature as well. If the deliver man could do a good job, then hands down no problem. However, for agricultural products, especially the cold chain agricultural products, they are quite fragile. In English, it's called fragile. So it has high requirements on the humidity, temperature, shelf life, and storage and logistics. All these features have determined that its entire supply chain is totally different compared with the pre-packaged foods and other kinds of products as well. Mr. Guo has mentioned that Ms. Guo talked about McDonald's supply chain. So how can we make those foods to be fresh and to be produced in at stores? Thus, we need our cold chain should also go together with the features of the local situations to achieve the digital transformation. To put it simply, how can we let the goods to cover less miles? How can we make people run less miles? However, the information could cover those gaps. And please let me brief you about the udingto.com. This udingto.com is a big platform, international platform for agricultural trade and business industry platform. We are trying to build ecology here. We are not doing business, but we are serving the businesses. So we are not the second-hand dealer to make profits and commissions from it.
We are not making business. We also focus on our brand image and sustainable practice. And in our udingto.com, this is not only an app, but also a service platform. It combines logistics, goods, information, and cash. So for each aspect, we have a dedicated service system. And we are not only a trading platform, we are also an open, coordinated, and shared ecosystem. We focus on importing goods from overseas countries and the supply chain. So the import supply chain is quite long from sourcing in overseas countries to customs to processing, warehouse storaging. So in terms of shipping, so would you choose we choose shipping, and some by airplanes and some by railways. And when the products reach China, we mainly use cars or trucks, and some is done by the freight and also ships. So for every part, we need to connect with our suppliers or our businesses. Even if the business knows really well about his business or her business, he needs to focus on the details. And also for new players and newcomers, they need to put a lot of money or even to go some 4 steps to be involved in our ecosystem. So we provide one-stop service. So we want to support newcomers, and they can have access to any service they want and they need. So you have formed a cold chain cloud. Yeah, you can say it. Now there we have agriculture machinery cloud, and we also have cold chain cloud. So how can we achieve these results? This is because of digitalization. We have a solid digital platform, and other cold chain companies can also do business in your platform. Yes. We provide a lot of services. So like for beef and business, if they want money, warehouse, and also upstream and downstream clients or businesses, they can come to us. So if you have a need, we can provide a solution. I also want to point out our advantage. So the platform with technology and big data, it can give precise information. So as a consumer, if we want to buy something, especially those bulk, especially like if we want to buy a house, we cannot make decisions on site. We need to compare, to talk, and also to bargain. It takes a long time to make the deal. And in our platform, so before the buyer and the seller meet each other, we will deal with data collection and also matchmaking. Just like to know the demands between the seller and the buyer, to know their price, expected price. And also like in the house scenario, if you, do you like animals? Do you want a friendly neighbor? So if I want salmon from overseas countries like from Alaska, and then your platform can provide certificate, and then you can come to us to see if we are qualified. Yes, this is a very typical user scenario. So by collecting data, we can shorten the information gap and can close the deal better and faster. So because of our warehouse and logistics, yeah, and then we can get the fish and send it to McDonald's, and then we will have our food. So thank you. Now, Mr. Xing, Mr. Yang shared about the cold chain cloud, and for agri-machinery cloud, how can your platform support machine owners so that we can have more mutually beneficial opportunities and also improve efficiency and enhance the eco-friendly outcomes? For our cloud, we have a lot of small farmers. So like in some season, we will have a harvest need or demand, and then the farmers can post their demands online. Then we can access these demands and we can send machinery to these areas. Additionally, we also have a posting service and also green financing. Now we've learned that some financial institutions may be more interested in big companies. But for like small farmers, they don't have a deep understanding of their credits. And we can provide data for them. With data, the financial institutions can provide money in a more efficient way. And we also talk about after sales. After we have the agricultural products, we can sell the products on our platform. So this is a full chain platform. And the agricultural machinery cloud, we've promoted smart agriculture. So using machinery, we also have some sensors. And we can detect pests, the soil, and also the water condition, and to reduce the use of fertilizers and chemical products. In that way, we can be better targeted. And we also can reduce carbon emissions. So we've connected every part of the agriculture industrial supply chain. So if you want to source some food, actually you can trace the original crop through our platform. So you see how our suppliers have considered a lot to support chain leaders. We've talked about cold chain decarbonization efforts, cold chain trucks, and other energy-saving measures like carbon emissions reduction by 30% by 2050. We know that in overseas agriculture products, like importing fruits to China, we need to import fruits in a very short time to maintain the quality. So how do you achieve it? Like how do you import fruits from Southeastern Asia and to reduce the carbon emissions along the cold chain? Southeast Asia is a very popular destination. We have many businesses there. Southeast Asia is famous for this crop for durian. And durian is very sensitive to wind and temperature, and the best temperature for it is 38 degrees Celsius. So we need to have precise control over the temperature. And durian is actually very delicate. If your truck can transport durian, and you can transport everything. Durian is sensitive to temperature and wind. To reduce the transportation cost, we need a large truck. So on the one hand, we need to have a big wind, and on the other hand, we also need to control the wind velocity to protect our plant. And also, the wind should be equally distributed. And in March, we've launched a new product. I think this is very powerful. And this is a large truck. It's called Telemax. So what's the advantages? We can have remote monitoring, like the temperature, moisture, and also emissions, because fruits are quite sensitive to its environment. We have the whole process monitoring system. We are good at cold chain. We know our products well. And now the world is focusing on the full process traceability. Sometimes for long distance transportation, we are afraid that the cold chain may not work or function so well in the truck. So if you buy during using our tracking system, you can check the full process from harvesting to transporting. And in southeastern area, so first we will use the road for transportation and then the railway. We don't want to, and we also want to connect each part of our transportation, so to prevent temperature fluctuation. And now we also have railways connecting Southeast Asia with China. And technology-wise, we have many innovation technologies. And also to remain fresh quality in low temperature. We want to use one car to meet the different temperature needs of different types of fruits. If you want to transport a large volume, and we can guarantee the transportation process, and we can reduce the waste and the loss. So through Telemax, we can better distribute the wind power and to maintain the moisture in the fruit. In Southeastern Asia, we need wind from. So we need the wind from ground to the upper space. Fruits also, like human beings, need to breathe. We need to have a clean air system to circulate the air in the truck. We also need to additional battery in case we have a battery failure. We are a tech company, so I talk a lot about the technologies. Many of our panelists are listening carefully to your sharing. Will you engage in in-depth discussions after this session? Yes. I think for new technologies, we always opt for new technologies. I think that's pretty much for our panel discussion too. Many downstream businesses want to serve our chain leaders. We have durian pizza in Pizza Hut. They need fresh durian, so you can contribute. I don't think there is one in McDonald's. So we need to serve the chain leader because they are directly facing our consumers. So we've seen a lot of efforts have been put into the technological innovation of the agriculture chain, such as the machinery. It needs to be controllable, light, and sustainable, so that it can operate in mountainous areas and can be promoted in a large scale. And it is more convenient for operators and to find job opportunities on online platforms. And I can make some money from using machinery. And also for cold chain technology,
And thanks to the cold chain and this platform, I put your network to call it the cold chain cloud. But I believe that is more likely to be known not only for the Alaska's cold, but also the Sweden's fish and the fruits for the Southeast Asia, which could be shipped on your platform in multiple transportation channels, no matter it's the chain leaders or the suppliers and partners on the chain. We are all making our efforts. Just like the UHE's name, we are trying to optimize and integrate everything. Thank you for all the delegates. And next, let's use the next 15 minutes for the third panel discussion, which is about the new opportunities for international cooperation and synergy development in green agriculture. Let's welcome Zhang Xiaoping, Chief Representative of Greater China Region of U.S. Soybean Export Council, Xu Ke, Vice President of Inner Mongolia Ely Industrial Group, Fan Li, Chief Representative of China for the World Resources Institute, Zhang Shuhui, Senior President of China Market Center of Charon Park and Group, and Liu Huan, Chief Executive Officer of BGI. Please be seated. It's a great honor for all of you to be gathering here, since we've got so much ongoing about the uncertainty of the trends, especially about the tax agreement. We've got a deadline each and every single day, and everything is changing. But with your presence today, showing that you are willing to cooperate and would like to express your thoughts and ideas. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. First, I would like to thank Mr. Zhang, representing the U.S. Soybean Export Council, because soybean is one of the greatest exports from the U.S. to China, and sometimes we are just witnessing some of the beefs and of the soybean products, but soybean is one of the larger exports. And could you please tell me that soybean is so closely interconnected with the Chinese market? Thank you. Thank you. I'm very glad to have this opportunity to share with us today. Your question is about the China and the U.S. soybean business. How can we achieve win-win cooperation? U.S. soybean exported to China to serve the Chinese people starting from 1982. From the supply chain's perspective, the U.S. soybean industry, as the U.S. as a manufacturer, and we are sending our soybeans to the hands of our customers. And for the Chinese soybean market, what you are doing is you are using the soybean to raise the fish, the pig, the livelihood, the poultry as the feed. That's also one of the biggest applications of soybeans. Some of the products in the supermarkets, they are more about the meat. However, for meat, in our eyes, meat is just a byproduct of soybeans. We use the soybean protein to provide the necessary nutrition for the animal growth, to protect the health of the animals, so that to increase their quality. And in this way, we are satisfying the customers' requirement from quantity to quality. And our cooperation between China and the U.S. has started from 1982, and since the farmers of planting to the farmers of raising poultry and livelihood, we are getting together and create this close partnership. And I can see that why the Chinese and American agricultural resources are supplementing each other. So in this process, we are trying to build a win-win relationship favorable to both sides. And I believe China, as the biggest soybean importers, soybean processors, and soybean consumers, and U.S. for quite a long term has been the world's largest soybean manufacturer, exporters. And in the past few years, we have been exceeded by the South America. But still, I should say on the supply chain of soybeans, we still play a big role. Yes, I think the needs of both sides is that is due to our natural resources, due to the U.S. natural resources with long history of livelihoods development, and for the upstream companies' need for proteins, and also China is one of the largest meat consumers. So that is a natural cooperation. China is one of the largest raw pork consumer and producer. Thus, we need large amount of plant protein in the feeding process so that we can provide the nutrition to the poultry and to make it possible for us to achieve a big role. And also for China, we need to ensure the food safety and security. Thus, we need food exchanges on the international market. Soybean is just one of them. For many years, actually, I think it's a great example for each country to play its own leverage on its own advantage to increase the livelihood of our people and so that we can improve our people's living. Well, that's very meaningful, isn't it? And I noticed that Mr. Lee is nodding his head because I know for E. Lee, for the cows in your plant, they do not only need the grass, but also they need other proteins. For Chinese people, the consumption of milk and milk products has not achieved the average level for the developed countries. For young people after 2000, 2001, but they are absorbing more and more milk products with increasing number of SKUs. However, I would like to hear your insights into the boosting of the Chinese milk and milk products market here in China. And for you, how do you understand this process of the boosting of the market and also with the potential to grow in the future? To your first question, I think I would like to use 3 methods to answer your question. First, to achieve this rapid development under this international layout, not just for the Chinese, not just for ALE, but for the whole industry here in China, we have integrated and utilized the global resources. It is quite an easy concept, isn't it? Because I took a bottle of milk. I don't know that Mr. Zhang, do you need a yogurt for breakfast since you'll be working such a big workload, and this pack of milk is a very good source built in China, and the probiotics added in it that are very good for us to improve the intestinal function, and it's the processing of this milk, I believe, and also the packaging is from Sweden. So I can feel that example that used with global resources to make the package of milk or yogurt. And second, we use the global resources. I will take Ely as an example, and we rank the 9th. But we on the global stage, but we rank the first now in the Chinese market in terms of the cross-border businesses. We are not just selling the Chinese products produced here domestically to other global consumers. Now we have 96 customers worldwide, and we indirectly invested in New Zealand, in Netherlands, and Thailand and Indonesia to build plants. And also we use the ordering platform since that we are trying to find the overseas accreditations independently established factories. Just as, for example, in African countries and European countries, we have 60 countries working with us. And thirdly, we have built this value chain to find suppliers on the world stage so that we could find in common the business values and our cultural values. For example, as the chain leader, we have established the Low Carbon Alliance. Not just we are trying to being committed to that mission, but also we are working with our partners for the green development. Just as what you have mentioned about the second topic, that in the future, what is the trend? I would like to brief you. And firstly, I believe that in the future in green agriculture, especially in milk industry, we will be talking about the Chinese quality and which will be the leading standard for the milk industry. Because I just came back from the China Dairy Conference. With the data released on that conference for the Chinese milk, for now, the protein containing protein has exceeding the standard of European standards. So we believe that the Chinese milk will be leading the world. And the second trend, I believe, is that the green development theory would be implemented into the every stop of our supply chain, and we should shake hands on that. Thirdly, is our supply chain will be developed to be more flexible, which also will be very obvious. And also, we would use the technology innovation to be transformed from being just imported from other countries, but now we will be co-innovating with our global partners. So I believe the key competitiveness is not as China with the shortage of milk resources, but now we are trying to not only cover the domestic markets, but also expanding on the global stage. Do you think that thanks to our technologies, thanks to our competitiveness or manufacturing power or the ability to integrate resources? Well, thank you. I think we do have the philosophy that Chinese market is actually an important part of the international market, as it is actually the part of the global market. Now, 80 to even 90% of the businesses here in China comes from the Chinese market. But I think still the exports could be counted in another perspective, but together they contribute to our entire international market. So where does our confidence come from? You have been talking about that, the foundation of our industry from the 1956 census launching of our company based on our technology innovations and with our talents. So we are very confident about that. And thirdly, we're talking about the potentials, as Mr. Zheng has mentioned that. So according to our official statistics, the consumption of milk for Chinese people is less than 1/3 of the world's average. So we are focusing on that. It's only 40.5 kilograms, and that's just less than 1/3 of the average. And fourthly is about innovative. We believe that the products in the market, domestically and abroad, in northern markets, we've got 3,000 SKUs. So we are trying to push us to deploy globally for our product layouts. Next, let's welcome Ms. Fang Li from the World Resources Institute, which is targeted at the resource average for different areas for the world. How can they exchange the resources so that they can be friendly, balanced? And in the previous two discussions, we've been talking about this standardization because for a chain leader, it would have a certain requirement for the companies in the upstream because it has 16,000 stores overseas so that they could have take a cold shot. However, for other regions all around the world, how can we establish a standard evaluation system, especially in the agriculture? How can we have this evaluation system in green agriculture or incentive system as well? Yes, thank you for the question.
Our research institute was established in 1982, so we have a long history, and this is a think tank first in the global industry. We have two missions, also two bridges. So first, for some public issues to reach consensus. So we've done a lot to promote government dialogues and academia dialogues and to reach consensus, such as during the Paris Agreement and the COP conference. And also to drive dialogue between China and America, and also between think tank and academia. And through governments, we can deliver the suggestions from think tank back to the governments. When governments reach consensus, then from vision to action, how can we build the bridge? How can we provide the tools? You've talked about standardization, such as the calculation system of greenhouse gas emissions. Now we know scope 1, 2, and 3. Also, our fossil fuel emissions, supply chain emissions, and other types of emissions. How can we calculate these statistics? We've also collaborated with big institutions and universities. When I came to the research institute, many researchers came to us and said that how can we become a promoter of standard formulation? How can we write international regulations and rules? We've talked about the UN-led conferences or consultations or negotiations, and also for think tanks to collaborate with big enterprises, especially chain leaders, to formulate practicable, cost-effective standards. You asked about the standards for the agriculture industry. I think that's quite complicated, especially for the low-carbon green transition. It faces many challenges. So first, we have different types of standards, and it costs a lot for us to comply, to collect data, and to disclose data. China is a large buyer, so how can we guarantee that the overseas products are organic? So look left. Now the World Resources Institute, we have a global database covering forestry and other aspects. We are trying to cooperate with institutions in China to sourcing destinations to look at their indicators, such as their deforestation and also environmental pollution. We want to have some metrics to evaluate the situation. Then we will have different labels like red, yellow, and other types of colors. And then our buyers can know or understand the destinations and to decide whether or not they want to buy stuff from there. In the future, we have many cooperation opportunities. I think we can elaborate on my perspective later. Yeah, we have many chain leaders here in this discussion. They have their opinions, their visions, and also some measures to realize their missions. Now we invited Changra Pork Pen Group. Yesterday, I interviewed Vice President Alex from your group. Yeah, he just flies directly through Thailand here for the Expo. So probably our sharing there will be some similar points in our sharings. So 12 years ago, our vice president has been talking about sustainable development. and also how he promoted international engagement in both Thailand and China. And he is the pusher, or he is the behind heroes of all the actions. He just reached 30 years old. He said that group has over 13,000 SKU, and in China, the number is far less. In China, we have 8 types of dishes. So in terms of SKU, we will have more opportunity, or we have more options, because in Thailand we just have Thai food. So some SKU is produced locally in China, such as eggs, but some king prawns, durian, and other products are produced in Southeast Asia and other areas outside China. So could you tell us how CP Food is deploying its industrial chain in China? Do you grow food by yourself here in China? I think the Chinese consumers' habits has changed vastly. We have higher expectations and higher requirements. So for the same type of food, we have different expectations. So let's review our history. We were established in 1921, so approximately 100 years old. At first, we developed seeds, and then we sent the seeds to Thailand. So from a seed, how can we grow into a large multinational company? That takes a lot of efforts. In 1970s, we witnessed China's reform and opening up, and then we are the first batch of foreign investors coming to China. Mr. Zhang will know that at that time we collaborated with another company from the US on soybean. So in industry, we say that we brought the feedstock industry to China. Now China is really good at feedstock, but we still need to pursue further progress. Then we start to raise pigs, chicken, and other poultry. And then we faced economic volatility, because the prices can change a lot depending on the situation. So for us, the poultry industry, the price or the profits is in a great volatility. We cannot make a lot of money from it, so we engaged in the in-depth processing. There are a variety of dishes or cuisine in China. We have different needs for food, like we have different tastes. So we need to think about consumer demands, and then we engage in our from seed to poultry and to in-depth processing. We've involved a lot. In the past, we exported products to European countries. We know they care a lot about the carbon emissions, so they require us to be in line with their standards. There are a lot of feedstock plants in China, like meat chicken, meat beef, and also food processors, like over 100 plants in China. Some are of large scale. Some plants use PV panels to generate electricity and also to reduce heat patient. And also we have some large-scale poultry factories. We've established our poultry factory in Beijing in 2013. And that factory can, and in that factory we can produce 120 eggs per day. 1.2 million eggs per day. So for every batch of eggs, it is consumers who contact the eggs first. We will not intervene in the process. So that's a smart factory. And please come to visit our factory in Beijing. I also delivered a speech in Harvard University about our agricultural revolution. So, under the guidance of the government and also financial support from the government, how we find a group of farmers and also financial institutions. So for RCP Food, we provide management system and plus financial institution plus government. And with the technology, together we can guarantee that farmers can have stable income because the land belongs to farmers. They lease the land to us. And that project is quite successful. We started to invest in that project in 2013. Now we have 3 million meat chicken in China, and the eggs are of great quality. So for consecutive 19 years, the eggs are provided to our athletes in the national teams. So this is hormone-free. And I've heard that Ely is also a sponsor of the National Bureau of Sports. So in addition to that, we've been doing a lot of R&D. China has a large consumer base, so we need to develop different cuisine for different people, such as dandan noodle in Sichuan and xiaolongbao in Shanghai, which is like a bun. So we have prepared food for consumers based in different areas of China. We need to make sure that our consumers eat well and eat nourished food. And we are continuing developing new products and also collaborate with downstream catering providers. I also ask, if you have good cooks, please introduce them to me. And also McDonald's, we are one of their suppliers. Yeah, our chicken. And also our pork. If there is a need, we can provide the product. Previously, a panelist talked about durian. We've also traded durian. We imported durian from Thailand to China. We faced a lot of difficulties initially, such as temperature control, and also how can we find the most suitable transportation, like by railway, by shipping, or by airplane. We have different types of durian. We need to find targeted or most suitable modes of transportation. And also for the well-known types of durian, we need to have a particular way.
So if without good control of everything, so we would try our best to increase and optimize our supply chain. They are you working in the headquarters of the Chia Thai Group in front of CCTV? Yes, I was. Since 2020, we moved into that building, and that CBD has the twin tower. One goes to the Chia Thai Group, another goes to another very distinguished enterprise. Because he has been the overseas Chinese business commerce president. Thus, he has invited a lot of overseas Chinese businessmen and women to negotiate and work together. A lot of overseas companies they took because the impact of the economic crisis. So we bought some of them. So I would. Yeah, I can see that you are expanding your landscape here in the Chinese market. Without such a huge investment, you will not be buying such a big building, isn't it? Yes, that shows our ambition. It is the headquarters of Chia Thai Group here in China. Our headquarters is in Thailand, but here we've got one in. Yes, as a CCTV personnel, I actually walked across the path to your company to enjoy some of the fruits and other food. Right, let's invite Mr. Liu Huan from the BGI. I know that since your English name is Bioverse, thus everything that goes to the biotechnology and that could change our agricultural precision and planning. So could you please brief us about BGI and what kind of what kind of efforts have you done and what kind of things that you have cultivated? And I noticed that you have been selling some of that, like small lobsters and some of the probiotics. Yes, BGI is mainly focusing on the environment, agriculture, and biology research. So our is big universe. It's not just covering the big universe, but also supporting everything growing in the universe. Just like in Taoism, one give birth to two, two give birth to three, and three gives birth to everything. So we believe our first project is called the Sky and the Earth Growth, which is mainly about the meteorology and also how to change the desert into arable land, and also for the planting on the deserts, to use the plants to do the forestation. The second project is called multi-chained. For example, for the corns, for the fishery, and that is also the very niche development point. The third one project is to improvise the minor ecology for the livelihood, and the first one is for the forestation in deserts. So by mixing the sands, we can try to make the sands to maintain the water, and also by use the probiotics to try to create a good ecology for the plants to grow. Without this technology, even if with water, we have noticed that some of the news about the flooding in deserts, because the desert is not suitable for the plants to grow. Thus, with that probiotics, we have achieved over 50,000 moose transformation of deserts in Xinjiang province. The second project is for the chain of the biology. The first idea, first for cane, that is that is perennial plant. Yes, I believe that we could use the gene editing for those plants to add more commercial values into them. Exactly. For a lot of grains, they are perennial. However, with the relocation of the human beings, they carry the seeds with them. Thus, by carrying the seeds and planting them, and now human beings have located in different regions, and we are thinking about for the perennial plants how we can just do harvest year on year. Thus, the FAO proposed that we need to cultivate perennial plants. Thus, we've got some of the countries and governments and regions cultivating wheat, cultivating other plants. For example, Mr. Pu from the Yunnan Agriculture Institute, and for corns, Mr. Tang, for 30 years working in Sichuan province, and for wheat, we've got other of the scholars. Yes, I know that BGI, in terms of the gene editing of the animals and plants, you have done much effort, and after that, you have applied the results of your researchers and together with other cutting-edge researchers and institutes' results into application. Yes, in that perspective, we've done efforts in three fields. Firstly, traditionally, when they achieve results in research, however, they do not know whether they can be applied in reality. Thus, we got to know that which gene could determine the plant to be perennial, and also while we are creating more brains and more different kinds of plants with different qualities. And thirdly, while we are promoting that product on the global stage, we would be leveraging the BGI's brand and our forces. Well, that is a really cutting-edge technology for the gene editing. Let's get back to Mr. Zhang. We know that U.S. Soybean Export Council has been a leading institute since U.S. soybean plays such a big role in the supply chain, and with so much certificates and big platforms and also the extension promotion of technologies, you play such a great leverage in that perspective, and also leading development of Chinese market. And what's your take on the U.S. soybeans role in the supply chain, and while cooperating with Chinese partners, how are influencing the standardization process? Yes, I think that question goes to the U.S. soybean market and our role in that perspective, and what kind of efforts that we have done. In agriculture, we believe U.S. Soybean Council Institute has certain ability to predict about the opportunities in the market, and also in the future, what kind of agriculture consumption, what kind of changes are ongoing and we established and then, however, when in 1950s, we have already extended this U.S. soybeans. Thus, all around the world, in each and every market, we have been involving in different promotion activities. Thus, we take the international market as the U.S. soybeans manufacturers factors to bear in mind in the process of production, and in this process, to the customers worldwide, we will be educating them that the benefits of soybeans and soybean products, and for someone who from unknown to known, and to be familiar and likeness. Thus, we would be leading that process with technologies. Just as what I've mentioned, we have working with the raw pork and the fishery aquaculture businesses to work with them in terms of technology exchanges, and also to use not only in the United States some of the technology in terms of management, nutrition, introducing them to China for free so that the Chinese enterprises and business partners could participate in it and to be inspired by what is good about them. And also in this process, we would be also integrating some of the independently produced technologies here in China so that these imported technologies could boosting in the Chinese market and in turn to benefit the soybeans studies on the world stage. From the seeds to the application, we know that we've got so many fields for research. For example, one of the very key type of the soybean, which is called the high oleic soybean, and we believe that it has this natural sweetness in it. If we use that into the soybean milk, and we believe that it contains the natural sugar with very high concentration. So we believe that with the promotion on the international stage and the exchanges with our projects, so that we can better get to know our end markets' needs, so that in turn we would receive the funding from the research and for the institute. For example, here in the United States, we do have this kind of funding for the research institutes to cultivate better seeds, to tap into the application scenarios for soybeans so that we can cater to the needs for the growing market. And we are witnessing that the enterprises all around the world are talking about the low carbon and environmentally friendly. And for the United States, the U.S. farmers and the best practices, plus the over 30 years of the federal governments and local governments strategies, laws, regulations to ensure that the U.S. soybean manufacturing system is in order and sustainable. Farmers told me this, that I'm not just planting soybeans, I am producing the land. My land could be richer and richer, and that is truth. So on such an arable farmland, rich farmland, I believe that the farmers would like to use the valuable chain to put and deliver our high-quality products to the hands of customers. How can we achieve that? Through the system, through the standardization. To achieve that, in the year 2013, our institute has initiated a plan which is called the U.S. Sustainable Safeguarding Initiative. And in that initiative, we have gathered together all the practices, summarized them, and with the standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that for all the farmers could follow those standards to achieve the whole industrial chain's production sustainably. And through the sustainable certificate, authorized by the third party, and so that we could have the standard, right? Good, with the standard. And for every vote and every ship, we would give the approve of them and grant them the certificate for the U.S. soybean. And also together with some of the GFLI's carbon footprint based on the requirements of our customers. On each and every certificate, we would put the volume of the carbon footprint on it, so that for each and every customer, they would get to know that for the soybean they purchase, how much carbon footprint is involved. Well, that is unique to your institute, isn't it? Yes. Not just for us, but also for the seed companies. Is that the consensus made in 2013? Yeah, it is. We've got the version 1.0, 2.0. Well, that's really an advanced move, isn't it? So for sustainable agricultural system worldwide, we know that we could.
So first, for soil water conservation. Second, biodiversity. can it benefit biodiversity through various means? On endangered wildlife and wildlife. And in the US, 75% of the farms are self-owned. So like for these farmers, they can have a land to cultivate biodiversity. This is quite challenging. And 75% of workers are committed to that the targets. So through non-agriculture means we want to cultivate biodiversity. And third, can our standards guarantee the participant in the industry to ensure their safety and also their income? Can we give a better safety net for them? Fourth, is there an independent, reliable auditing firm that can supervise the system? Fourth, do we have standards for different goals at different stages, like to save how much volume of water and also to improve energy efficiency towards standard? And then when we achieve phase 1 target, we can aim for the phase 2 targets. So I think if we can meet these 5 requirements, then we can achieve sustainable agriculture globally. And also, in the Global Trade Center, we have 323 standards for soybean growers to align with these standards. We have SAP standards, and you can look at the standards online. It's an open source. So we're thinking about collaborating with research institutions such as WWF, as well as government associations, to build a comprehensive network to attract participation and to benefit the soybean supply chain. And it also comes back to our theme today. So thank you. I've written so much. Water, soil conservation, biodiversity, well-being of workers, auditing firm from third party, and also 5-year, 10-year long-term plan. And you have implemented the initiative from 2013. So it's a 10-year plan. That's impressive. I think all industries and sectors can learn from your initiative. I think if someone does a good job, we can learn from them. And in applying for a sustainable certificate in China, we are actually leading the world. For 200 million tons of soybeans, actually we have certificate. We are using the supply chain to benefit our businesses. For every participant involved in the supply chain, their products can have a better price in the market. Sometimes they can increase their price by 70%, and they even have customers. So our initiative not only meet the needs of the customers in China, but also the high-quality development goals of the industry. Yeah, I saw that Mr. Xi knows a lot to your sharing. You must think a lot in the process. So considering the future market trends, inevitably in regulations, supervision, and also standard formulation, how can leading companies make a good example, such as dairy farmers, and also product R&D, and also in education. Some people say that the consumer market in China is going higher. It's like a K type. So some people pursue high-end products, some people pursue cost-effective products. I think you can spend a lot of time on that question. So please briefly share with your insights. So first, how can we guide and lead the diversified needs? I've mentioned that we need to establish a healthy ecosystem. We are a chain company. We can lead our partners and suppliers to pursue a low-carbon, sustainable development. And then from our consumers, their demands and requirements are diversified. We talk about durian. And also an example for you. Several years ago, a government leader visited Thailand. He knew that we've merged an ice cream company from Thailand. He said you need to introduce that technology from Thailand to China. I think we have more diversified demands. We need to lead and educate consumers to eat well, eat healthily. And this is our focus in technological innovation. And in the future, in terms of the trends, we need to think globally. So with the support of the healthy ecosystem, we need to follow the local legal framework. We need to enhance our law awareness. For Yili, we are a global enterprise. So next, we will be committed to green sustainable practice in the world. Thank you. Very concise, yet very meaningful. And for WRI, Ms. Fang, a question for you. Countries have subsidies for their agriculture, and especially in the green agriculture, there will be more subsidies. And this is a huge topic in Western countries. If governments don't issue incentives, then people will get angry, and they will take to the street. I think for South countries, they also need to issue incentives. But when they have incentive or subsidies, developed countries say that they are dumping the products. Actually, we are practicing the same thing. This is a good question. I think it interweaves many sectors. So first, WTO rules. Second, the financial support of the green development. Third, the agricultural development. So first thing first. So under the WTO framework, the subsidies for agriculture sectors take a long time, involving EU and the US. China has its specialized policy. It taxes its agriculture sector, and I forget from which year we started to stop taxing from our farmers. So we have a different system. Like Japan, many voting power is actually among the farmers. So for one farmer, their voting right actually speaks louder than other participants. So in political competition, farmers have a greater say. And in terms of economics, subsidies cannot show like the resource allocation. And sometimes, because of subsidies, we can benefit those regions which are not suitable for planting and farming. For our research institute, we are calling for a fair transition. Through 40 years experience, we find that if you leave out human in transition, then the transition will fail. If a country is very strong and if it absorbs all resources and leaving others behind, then the transition should not survive long. As President Xi said, we need to build a shared community for all. So how can we maximize limited resources and allocate these resources to benefit 10 billion population in the future? We need to have a global consensus. Today we talk about the transformation of ecological value. I'm deeply inspired. We often see that sometimes the European Union has a high requirement for our carbon footprint. And also, Mr. Xu said we have high-quality products. EU has also zero deforestation policy. And this is a unilateral proposal. And you ask for all participants to follow your regulations. So do we have bilateral agreements? We are negotiating with Brazil on sustainable agriculture, and also sustainable meat production. Can we expand the consensus from two parties to cover the whole world? Can we have a shared and consistent standard system? So can our chain leaders to play a part? China is a large consumer and producer. How can we exert our influence? As a chain leader, what can we do? In climate change, very soon we will have the COP30. Global governance will face a new round of opportunities. So just imagine, in the future, in face of geopolitical tension, can chain leaders do something? The previous governance mechanism focuses on government or nations. So the regional governance is based on the administration. And for chain leaders, we focus on cross-border trade. In our office, we see many multinational companies have higher equipment requirements for their supply chain in China. And these requirements may be much stricter than those developed by the nation. The requirements are cross-border. So for next round of global governance, can chain leaders play a more influential role? And in our research institute, we collaborated with other partners on STBI. Many Chinese companies have been involved. We have over 10,000 chain leaders participate in our initiative, accounting for 1/3 of the market share. So they have set targets for 2030 carbon reduction efforts. They not only have set responsibilities for themselves, but also for their partners. And our chain is also related to data chain. And you can see different trains are linked together, and then from string to face, we can promote social progress and revolution.
And back to the topic about the subsidies, I believe that for sustainable development, we need to be supported financially. Without the international consensus on the supply chain, and we could take the green development as part of the subsidies as well. For example, the currency rate, and other kind of rate, and for the cost. I believe that's part of the subsidies. If we can shake hands on the agreements from bilateral to the cross-border, how can we use a financing mechanism to support the green transition in the supply chain? I think it's quite necessary. Wow, what a wonderful speech. Without any notes at hand, you can talk about those deep topics while you have really deep research on this topic, and I'm very glad to hear that WHR, as the chain leader, so much effort you have devoted, and we will be expecting a bigger role that you'll be playing. Just like the U.S. Soybean Expert Council has been playing such a big field. I know that Mr. Zhang, for Child Thai Group, that now you have upgraded your price for 20 to 30%. But however, that your product is antibiotic free. So what's your take on that? Yes, I believe that different Chinese customers would have different requirements. However, especially for the people born after 1990s and after 2000s, they have much and more focus on the food safety, on the green labels, and whether the food is traceable, and they would like to know the supply chain of the food. And for Mr. Xu, and for the labels, do you have to clarify each and every detail of the sources on the labels? Yes, exactly. That is the case. And that's exactly what we are doing for now, which is called the clean label. That is the project we are doing. It contains only the milk without anything else. Yes, clean label. Today, during lunch, I talked with one of the colleagues from the sustainable development. Some people have this misunderstanding that clean label means that it contains only the water or milk without anything else. Well, we do need certain reasonable additives. However, as enterprise, what should be added into the product, that is, we should also be aware that the thing should be no harm to our bodies, and also that's traceable. However, for some of the thing that is quite sensitive in this perspective, and whether that's harmful to our body and to our intestines, and also talking about the antibiotic free, we are working on the antibiotic-free eggs. It is not just we're just talking the talk, but we invited the third party's supervision on that, over 8 years supervision and testing. How can we change our feeds to the chicken, and also for the breeding environment from the small chicks, just as what soybean, starting from the genes. We've got very good chicken, and those chicken would have very good the parent chickens, so that we can make sure that after 6 weeks of breeding, we will change them into another workshop, so that we can have them lay the eggs. They do not need any antibiotic medicine, so that we could select good breeds. And second, from 1953 to now, we've been working on the feeds to make sure that they are nutritious, and also they could provide us with other of the benefits. And by eating eggs, we are absorbing proteins, just as what we are eating, the soybeans and the pork. And also for the breeding environment, in 2013 and 2014, do you still remember that Beijing had such a high PM 2.5 concentration, isn't it? However, for the warehouses of the chicken, we would have the filtration of the air to ensure the air quality. Thus, for the humidity and for other parameters, we do have the supervision of that, and we do not feed them with antibiotic medicines. Thus, the eggs are antibiotic free. However, we need the deeper processing of the eggs. For example, they would be processed into egg tofu and also some of the tea eggs, and we would add this other ingredients into that, and we would ensure that all the ingredients we use are biotic free. And we also invited some of the experts to talk about whether our customers are pursuing the concept about antibiotic free, because they realized that they had been eating those products, no matter it's the meat and also other products that would be harming their bodies. After a several time of accumulation, you would be antibiotic. Thus, we need to adopt the antibiotic-free products. And this time, during our press meeting, we featured our antibiotic-free eggs, shrimps, pork. We are not just doing with the freezing of the original food, but also we would do the processing. For example, we would use the antibiotic-free pork into sausages, into sesames, so that the customers would get a better understanding of that. Yes, we can integrate the upstream and downstream enterprises. Yes, we have invited several of our agencies. I think they would be expecting to discuss with us what's the next step. And they are talking about the antibiotic-free products. But we need to let our customers to know that why it is important to adopt the antibiotic-free products. We need to leverage on our benefits and to give them a reason why they need to buy the products, why they need to pay an extra 10% to those products. Oh, yeah, I know that they have formed a kind of evaluation system or practice to build trust with the customers, just as what the U.S. soybean has achieved. Yes, for different industry, we are faced with different situations because we are suppliers, but we're not involved in this business. So we think it's too tiring to do the business just as Chantai Group. To be green and sustainable and low carbon, everything starts from the farmland. We do a good job here in our own circle and let the market select what they need. So our solution to this problem is tested by the customers, by our markets. And everyone could benefit from a solution. For example, we have long-term cooperation with Chantai Group and Yuran and from the Ely, which has acquired the United States certificate. Thus, we have deep cooperation. Yeah, such a big group, big player in this market. You have to work with them. Yes, exactly. I have visited many of the enterprises. For example, the district of Pinggu. So I believe that the Chantai Group, in terms of the selection of the original sources, in every perspective, they have gone to the extremes and take the customers' needs into perspective. And yes, we use your soybean to be our feeds. Exactly. And we breed from the small cows and then to feed them, to milk them, and finally to process them into different milk products. What a long chain, isn't it? Do you adopt different principle standards to do that? Yes, exactly. To milk industry, we have crossed the 1, 2, 3 different sectors. We should be covering not just the milk quality, but also the cow quality, and also for the downstream enterprises like the Yuran, which is a subsidiary of our Ely Group. Thus, the feed is harvested from the farmland. That's, in that perspective, that's quite a long chain, isn't it? Finally, let's invite Mr. Liu. For BGI, in terms of technology innovation, how can we testify it to be right, to be workable, to be feasible in reality? I believe that's the focus of BGI. After we have generated one research results, by gene editing, whether it's good or bad, whether it's feasible, applicable in the reality, I believe that there's a long journey to go. But what is the biggest challenge? Yes, we've been talking about the Chair-Thai group's food safety concerns and also the soybean export council standardization efforts, and also from the land's health, and we've been covering so many perspectives. And we believe that food is the forever topic for human beings. If we can ensure the basic safety and to ensure the resource materials are healthy, since the United States are the farmers, however, they are big farmers. However, here in China, we are working as individual farmers. For example, they are growing different vegetables, and that could be destroying the richness of the farmland. And also, they would not be so attached to their farmland. How can we ensure the health of our farmlands? I believe that we need to build that connection with the biotics to adjust the health of the land, and with the healthy land, that we can grow healthy plants, so that we can we can produce healthy products and to feed healthy Chinese people. I think every stop is deeply interconnected. And we believe that we are working as a chain leader in the production, so we can try our best to adjust the microorganism in the land, and also in the product processing procedures. We are not just for example, for beer and for bread, and for the utilizing of the microorganisms, I believe it's very important and imperative to work at the safeguard for the food safety, just as what Mr. Zhang has talked about. And we are talking about that one of the key parameters is under the earth. The microorganisms richness is imperative to a healthy land. Thus, in certain the research in the microorganisms, only with the telescope that we can get to know the microorganisms, but this is still quite limited. In this principle, we also talk about the cultivation of microorganisms, just like by seedling. We may only after it has emerged from the earth so that we can see them. However, later we can use the gene editing methods so that we can get to know the nucleic molecules to recognize which plant it is, so that we can get to know we can get to define the microorganisms within it and get to know the quantity of it, so that we believe that by using that we can separate the microorganisms beneficial and harmful, and utilize that which are good for us. And that's what we are doing right now. And with the development of green agriculture, especially here in China in the past few decades, we are entering into the chemical agriculture era. And by utilizing the fertilizer and the chemicals, now the Chinese government has been implementing strategies, regulations on the fertilizers and chemicals used.
And in this process, and small farmers don't want to reduce their fertilizer. And thank you for your sharing. Wow. Now we have the music on. I know we are running out of time. I just want to hear more insights from our panelists. So thank you for their sharing. So a round of applause to them. Mr. Zhang, representing the the U.S. Soybean Export Council, has talked about many higher standards for the industry. Mr. Xu from ED has talked about its leading position in the dairy industry in China and also will lead the industry's better development, introducing more better practices. And third, Fang Li from World Resources Institute, I've inspired by your in-depth research. International standards are hard to reach. So maybe we can start from enterprises and also our chain leaders to have standards for green agriculture. And that's more practical. And then for PC food, we see 2 buildings in Beijing, so we've seen your commitment to the Chinese market and also your chicken, the poultry efforts. I think this is very respectful. And also for BGI Group, your innovation from farm to table to from like soil conservation. We've talked about many chemical products and also in the long term, how to improve the environment for better agricultural practices. I've tried my best to summarize all our panelists' sharing, and thank you. And this concludes today's Green Agriculture thematic event, and you can visit our booth. See you tomorrow.